Two. We lost. Okay, I'm Gary Peter Carlson, and I'm with John of Light, and we're doing video number 10 of trying to expose that the people ruling us have reptilian souls. We're trying to help humanity. And today, we're going to talk about the predictions for the near future a little bit, and I may ask questions on dowsing along the way. Go ahead, take it away, John.
Hey, Gary, I am John of the Light online, and it's an honor to do another video with my good friend Gary Peter Carlson, the world's expert on souls and spiritual research. I have done a fair amount of research myself over the last 15, 16, 17 years. We thought today we would try to get into some of the predictions and prophecies that we're all hearing about every day online, that everyone that we look at talks about every day online. And we're going to try to connect them back to the prophecies and the predictions that people have been making for years, some for decades. And a lot of these prophecies seem to be very similar to ones that have gone back 100 years to the great prophets of the past. I mean, people have been saying a lot of this stuff for hundreds of years, some thousands of years. But it's interesting. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let me start us up on my research on what I get. And everybody's probably heard the word ascension and may not clearly understand what that means. And through my dowsing and reading and verifying things, what I get is there's two different ascensions. There's one ascension for our solar system. We're currently in third density, the fourth dimension, realm 1, and we're going to move to realm 2, which is fourth density, the fifth dimension. And they kept moving it up, and let me see, is it supposed to be the first quarter of 2026? No. Is it sooner? No, it's later. Is it the second quarter? The second quarter of 2026 is predicted for what I've been referring to as planetary ascension, which is actually our solar system moving from third density to fourth dimension that we're in. I know a lot of people say we're in third dimension, but I'm sure we're in fourth dimension. There's length, height, and width, and a component of consciousness as the four dimensions. And we're going to go from fourth dimension to fifth dimension, which requires density change. We're going to move to fourth density, the fifth dimension, and it's realm 2. And it's basically at the same level in creation. There's 24 levels of creation, and third density and fourth density are both on level 1. Fourth density is like a deluxe third density. The major difference is, as I may have told you before, God makes half the souls with empathy and half the souls without empathy. There's like 18 major lines of DNA, And 9 of them get a soul with empathy, and 9 of them get a soul without empathy. Every living thing must have a soul to be alive. And 3 of each 9 can become people on different planets. And
so can I jump in real quick? You just predicted that planetary or solar system ascension is coming in 2026. The bigger picture, which we've talked about many times, is that ascension can only occur after the end of a cycle, correct?
Around that time when the cycle ends, when the age ends, and the great year ends, and there's like 12 ages, and we're in Pisces and we're going to Aquarius. And when those 2 ages change, that's also the end of the great year.
So the question then is, why now? We're ending a cycle and it's the 3rd cycle of Earth?
Exactly, yes.
And so
of humanity.
So planetary ascension, was it always slated to occur at the end of the 3rd cycle on Earth?
Yes, it can only occur after 3 cycles. A soul group that has empathy must go through 3 cycles. And there's some other rules involved. I think it has to have a population of like 1.8 billion or something like that. But that includes all the soul groups that are in that solar system. I'm told there's two small groups on Mars, and there's a medium-sized group on Venus. And there's a very large group, humanity, on Earth. There's some other soul groups on Earth that have empathy and don't have empathy, and they don't seem to have high numbers. But the main soul group is humanity, and we're finishing our 3rd cycle, and we're eligible to move to 4th density. Now, of all the soul groups in the universe that have empathy, about 1/4 of them are in 3rd density, and 3/4 of them are in 4th density. And we're getting ready to go from 3rd density to 4th density. We qualified.
All right. So let me ask a question. If predictions are just that, they're not written in stone, they're predictions of the future. And this show today, we're going to talk about a lot of predictions. This is a big one, the prediction of planetary ascension. If you're wrong, you're not wrong, you're not off by much, right? You might be off by a year or 2. And the reason for that, that you know the cycle is ending now?
Around now, yeah. I don't know exactly when the cycle ends, but somewhere around now, the great year end. Some people say it's already ended. Some people say we got another 1,000 years or another 100 years to go. There's this.
Thank you. Bye.
There's this one researcher that looks at the sky. I can't. He's a famous guy. I can't think of his name. And he looks at it moves like 1 degree every 72 years. And he looks at the sky and says it's just about moved from Pisces to Aquarius. It's right on the line there. We're moving over right now. And right. He said this about 20 years ago or something like that.
All right. And, well, can you help people understand, right? Our mission, at least one of them, apart from trying to teach spiritual truths, is to expose the reptilian infiltration of humanity and the takeover of humanity by these negative reptilian beings without empathy. And, they do this over and over again, and this is what they do. They go conquer planets. Why is planetary ascension which is one of our first predictions of this show, which you're predicting to occur in 2026. Why is that so important against the reptilian agenda here on Earth? Why is it so important to humanity?
Because in fourth density, only souls that have empathy can go in fourth density. So souls that don't have empathy cannot go in fourth density. So all these reptilians that are controlling our governments and everything will die when we go to fourth density.
So they must know this, right? I mean, they've taken over planet Earth.
They do know it, and they're trying to stop it from taking place.
That's what I wanted to get to. So we have this group of reptilian souls, beings controlling planet Earth. They've taken over and controlled humanity for some time now, and they know what we know, that the cycle is ending and the likelihood of planetary ascension is very high and coming very fast. What are they going to try to do about it? Can they do anything about it?
Well, one thing they're trying to do, supposedly, let me ask if this is right, is to kill a lot of us so that our population is too low and we don't qualify for fourth density.
And what evidence do we have of that? I mean, I can think of 20 things.
They tried the jab.
The jab, okay.
And some people didn't live through that. And then they're trying World War III.
Right. Okay.
And
okay.
Other diseases and what do you call it? A pandemic.
Yeah, right. So assuming that the reptilians created the Georgia Guidestones, which states on it very clearly they want to maintain a population of a global population of 500 million or less, does that play into this?
Right. That would make us not qualify for planetary ascension.
Right. Okay. So we're getting, I mean, this is an amazing reality truth bomb for our audience here. So let's
these
go ahead.
People don't just automatically get to do what they want. There's beings in higher densities that are watching and making and controlling our reality somewhat. So they can stop these beings from killing billions of us to prevent the planetary ascension. They don't just automatically get to do it, you know.
So what you've said, what you've explained is that planetary ascension is so important for humanity because it actually is a solution to this reptilian crisis humanity is facing.
Right. We also got to do something toward getting them out of power for us to be allowed to get this planetary ascension too. And there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of evil people in the government with corruption and fraud, and they're getting found out and getting thrown out of the government. So that they're getting stopped, and that helps us to get planetary ascension. If they're in full blasted control and we're totally enslaved, we probably won't qualify for planetary ascension if that's the case.
All right. So if this prediction occurs, either next year or very, very soon within the coming years, it's also one of the greatest moments in humanity's history and the planet's history and the the history of our solar system, which moves then into fourth density.
Right.
And that would be the first time ever in the solar system's history, our solar system's history, that it has ascended into the next density.
Right. I get that we've been in the fourth dimension for like over 1 million years. I mean, there's these other people talking about us being in the third dimension, and then they say we're going to the fifth dimension. I mean, so what do they call the fourth dimension? You know, I mean, you got to go from the fourth dimension to the fifth dimension. You don't just go from the third dimension to the fifth and skip the fourth dimension. We're in the fifth dimension for like over 1 million years.
So then this opportunity is great. It's extraordinary. I can't think of the best word, the right word. It's extraordinary for humanity because then it allows for individual ascension, which is another prediction you also have made and many have also made.
Oh, individual ascension happens regardless of whether we have
no matter what.
Yeah, individual ascension is for the people that completed their cycle. You have to take lives all the way through the cycle. For a human, that's around 108 lives, and there's star seeds here from other planets, and they've all incarnated here because during this lifetime, end of the cycle window is going to open up for individual ascension to go to the fifth density. And you can do it from either third density or fourth density. It's the same power level. And fifth density is second power level.
So let me ask a clarifying question. You're confirming that individual ascension is not dependent on planetary ascension?
No, it's not.
Nothing to do with it. In other words, the cycle is ending, and for those human souls that are in cycle or qualified, that are qualified for ascension, they will have an opportunity to graduate, so to speak, regardless of planetary ascension.
Yeah, they need to have their soul polarized positive or negative. Be polarized positive. On my system, you would need a soul score of 51 or higher. Soul scores go from 2 to 69. But I don't get anybody above 58. But there's a lot of people that are in the 50s, and they have a soul that's polarized positive. And there's maybe 45 million star seeds on Earth that have came here to make individual ascension when the window opens. You'll talk to a lot of other researchers talking about star seeds and talking about what they're doing and all this kind of stuff. And like that's why they're here, but that's not why they're here. Star seeds are here to take advantage of the window opening so they can make individual ascension to the fifth density. They'll go to the fifth density, and then they'll go to then they'll be moved to the fifth density on their planet.
All right. So you've made a prediction for the future of the timing of individual ascension, and what is that?
Is it the first quarter of 2026?
That was planetary.
Planetary ascension. And individual ascension, I have gotten for years that it's between 2025 to 2029. And it's unknown exactly when it's going to happen. Now, another researcher that says he gets special information, he came to me and says, I'm told that this individual ascension is going to happen in 2027. which is the middle year of the 5 years on what I've been told. So he may
All
be
right.
right, and it's likely in 2027.
So let me ask a question. Let me ask a question that I think some of our viewers might have. What would come to mind immediately is the sort of biblical prophecy of the rapture. Is that kind of a metaphor for ascension?
Yeah, it's like the same thing. Your body moves to your body and soul goes together, and you go to the fifth density, and then when your body gets in the fifth density, it's expressed differently. You got the same body, but all of a sudden you'll be in a different place with different rules, and you won't have any openings in your body. You'll still have 2 arms and 2 legs and a head, but your mouth, ears, eyes, and the lower parts will be sealed. You'll communicate by telepathy, and you'll refresh your body with energy crystals or something like that. You go to some area that has crystals every once in a while to take in energy. And
all right, so we've described
gases or liquids.
Sure.
And it's a physical reality, but it's quite a bit different than the one that we're in. Now, fourth density is different than third density too, but it's pretty close to the same. You'll still eat, talk, and sleep, and your body will remain the same. If you're born in third density and you go to fourth density, your body stays about the same, but the negative things like microbes for disease and the other 9 lines that get a soul without empathy will be missing in fourth density. No more insects or spiders or reptiles, grains and fungus and mold. A lot of the unwanted things will be missing. A few things that we do want will also be missing.
So let's address the question of how significant of an event this is. I mean, for those people who have old souls on Earth, who've lived somewhere in the realm of 110 lives, incarnations on Earth, who've spent an entire cycle, which is the cycle of the turning of the solar system through the zodiac.
Yeah.
25,900
years.
Okay, 25,920 years. They've learned the intended lessons of love that they were intended to learn in third density. They've finished their cycle. The ascension window opens and they graduate. How significant is that? I mean, from a spiritual perspective, isn't that one of the greatest moments of a soul's life?
Making ascension is absolutely tremendous, I'm sure.
I mean,
I think it'll be happening all over the world. I think the window will open and people will start ascending, and then they'll be talking about it and they'll figure it out, and they'll be announcing all over the world. So and so's making ascension. You get like a 2-hour warning that you're going to make ascension. 8th density being takes you from 3rd or 4th density to 5th density.
And do you simply sort of materialize into a different dimension, sort of?
Yeah, you would disappear and reappear in the other, the next. Our 5th density is in the 12th dimension.
So in a weird way, it's very much like the rapture. It's very similar to that concept.
The dimensions go up to 28. Oh, 9th density has the 28th dimension or whatever. They're all of, there's only 3 dimensions of space, length, height, and width. That's the same in every density. And the other dimensions could be energy, time, consciousness. and maybe something else I'm unaware of.
Well, I think I don't know where we should end this video, but there's so many more predictions and prophecies that I want us to get to. Maybe we get to them in another video.
We got about more minutes.
What I think we should emphasize is how incredible this is in our lives, that the planet, these two prophecies, these two predictions, planetary ascension and individual ascension, for those who qualify, this is about the most exciting, positive time in history, so to speak, in our solar system, and for these people that are qualified to graduate, is it not?
Yeah, it'll be fantastic when we go to fourth density. And things will disappear. Our bodies and matter will be expressed slightly different. I think that our souls will communicate with plant souls and other animal souls that we come in contact with. I think there'll be a few other minor changes. I think we can sleep about 3 hours or something like that, and we may eat different foods. The new people that will be born will have a taller, thinner body and be less athletic. So that'll affect the sports like football and basketball and tennis and all that. The new bodies coming out won't be as athletic, and that'll change things some.
So what are some questions that viewers might have surrounding these predictions, these two major events? Obviously, we as a species, humanity needs to be concerned about the reptilians and their efforts to try to stop planetary ascension. That's a big one. We talked about that. But you clarified that individual ascension is going to occur no matter what. So one scenario is we have planetary ascension and individual ascension. A sort of bizarre twist would be that the reptilians stop planetary ascension and keep control of our solar system, and yet we still have an individual ascension. That's a possibility. Right. In either, well, let's talk about either case. In the case in which they stop planetary ascension, that would be a real tragedy for our planet and our solar system, would it not?
It would be. And there's still, I'm told there's still a chance they can stop it. But I think it's very slim.
And if that happens, the beings, all beings with empathy or no empathy, if they didn't qualify for ascension, they all would just remain. All the evil beings without empathy, all of the reptilian races, all of the negative races, as well as the third density souls, all of them stay and just continue for what? Another cycle?
Yeah. Yeah, and then after another 25,920 years, we'd have another chance to go to fourth density.
So it would be a real tragedy.
Yeah, we want to make it this time.
So, okay, now, and in the scenario where we have planetary ascension and the entire solar system and our planet Earth moves to fourth density, have individual ascension, how does that play out? You've said that when the ascension window, the individual ascension window opens up, those qualified and star seeds, they move on, they get taken. But those that are not qualified, they just stay now in a new fourth density.
Right. They're in better living conditions will improve. Living
And
in
it improves.
density will be better than living in third density, but it'll be easier and better, but it won't be as exciting. The highs and
Well,
lows will be less.
well, for those who don't qualify, it's important to note that they've done nothing wrong, right? They're
Right.
not being punished.
Their soul ain't old enough to
Their
go.
soul isn't old enough to go. And it's actually an incredible experience for them, is it not? Because they move into fourth density where only beings with empathy for others can survive and live.
Yeah. The beings out in outer space will be almost all positive. Where now they're like maybe half and half, or maybe it might be like 60-40 positive and 40% negative in outer space now.
Right.
But
So
it'll
whether you
turn to like 90% positive.
I guess it just means that whether you graduate and move to fifth density, or you stay on Earth and live in fourth density, it's an amazing transformation. It's an amazing transition either way.
Yeah, I think so. And it's easy to say all that, and nobody's gonna appreciate that until it happens.
Until it happens.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna say, yeah, okay, Ascension, it'll be great. Oh, okay, well, when I get there, then it'll be great. Right now, I don't know if I believe it or what, you know.
Yeah. I guess I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's any sort of trailing questions viewers might have about Ascension. I'm sure there are many.
Okay, I can say this: you, eighth density beings from all over the galaxy come to help move the population. There's roughly about 1 billion people that can go to fifth density, but about 700 million there are polarized positive and ready to do it, and there's about 300 million that need to get their soul positive so they can go.
Well, so there are way more beings that are not qualified that are in cycle, that planetary ascension really truly matters for them then.
Yeah, it's a big deal for them. Yeah. Now, there's some people that have a real young soul that haven't learned all the lessons of third density. So we'll go to fourth density, and then after they die, they might have them reincarnate on third density planets for a while to finish more of their third density lessons, and then they'll come back to Earth in the fourth density.
Thank you for saying that. That was something I had forgotten to bring up. I think it's really, really interesting for everyone, but especially for those who are not qualified for ascension, just how significant planetary ascension is for them, which brings us back to part of our mission, which is trying to, expose spiritual truths and the takeover of humanity by these reptilians. Is there anything that you want to say about this final battle of dark versus light that humanity is facing in the next year or two?
I can say
that
one
will determine, right? It'll determine whether or not we have planetary ascension.
Yeah, what happens in the next year will determine that. And when it does happen, the change takes place in about 7 seconds, I'm told. All the things around you will look weird and all of a sudden a little different, and then about 7 seconds later we'll be in fourth density. Yeah, we're in a huge political struggle with these people with reptilian souls. I get there's about 4 million of them, and there's 4 kinds. The worst kind are the ones controlling the West, and they're draconians, and they're by far the evilest, and they're the ones that did the pandemic and They control the creation of money. And
And they own everything.
they make a lot of the laws that are screwed up.
Yeah.
They've did all sorts of crap against humanity. And then there's the lizards. They rule a lot of countries too, and they're not so evil. Trump's one of them. See, the draconians hate Trump because he's got a lizard soul, and he wants to do the lizard agenda, and while the draconian agenda is to more enslave us. He wants to make it halfway good for humanity, and everybody likes him, and he stays in power. While the draconians want to enslave everybody and make harsh rules and put everybody under surveillance and control. Trump's not concerned about that. He just wants to stay in power and make things halfway good, bring out new technology and do a few things. And then there's also in the Middle East, there's a group called snakes. There are snake reptilians, and they have their souls in human bodies. And in the Far East, they have dragon souls that are incarnated in human bodies, like China, Cambodia,
right?
Korea.
To be clear, the reptilians aren't the only races that are negative or lacking empathy for others. There's countless other races that have no empathy.
Right. It's in third density all over the universe, about 2/3 of the soul groups don't have empathy, and about 1/3 have empathy. And the reason it's 2/3, 1/3 is because a lot of the groups with empathy have moved on to fourth density. As we are going to do. I think we're going to make.
So maybe, to put it in perspective of spiritual truth or spiritual reality, the battle that everyone talks about that we're in right now, the battle of good versus evil, it's really a battle between souls with empathy and souls without empathy, or races with empathy like humanity versus races without empathy like reptilians.
Right. All right, let's leave it there.
It's a good place to stop.
Okay. The end of our 10th video. We'll see you next video. Thanks for watching.
And maybe the next video will do more on prophecies and predictions.
Yeah, I'm making the same video every time on YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute. You can watch on either channel. If YouTube takes me down, I'm still on Rumble and BitChute.
All right, sending love and light.
Love and light. See you next time.